I'm Kaaren Poole, artist, author, illustrator, and animal lover, and I'm here today to share with you a project that I really enjoy developing. I call her Guardian Hare, and her purpose is to watch over you and remind you of important things like happiness, gratitude, joy, love, and peace. I finished the back with a piece of scrapbook paper. This particular piece is on a 1/4 inch thick piece of wood. And then I've attached the ribbon so that I can hang the piece on the wall. And in fact, my headboard has some very fancy features to it, and there's a place where I can hang her so she's with me, watching over me all night as I sleep and bringing these words back into my consciousness. The reason I'm sharing this project with you, this video class, is because I just really enjoy sharing the things I love, which are animals and doing art, among, of course, other things. But I can pretty much count on being with an animal or working with a piece of art to make me feel joy, to bring me out of any kind of downtime I might have had, or to make me feel even better when I'm feeling good. So that's something that I would really love to share with you. It's my gift to you. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, consider going to my website and subscribing to my mailing list. You will find my website information and also my email and other contact information on the trailer of the video, but also on the PDF that you will receive with it. So enjoy. Take care. Hi, let's get started on our project. Pretty excited to be doing this. I always love doing collage. Okay, so I already explained what the project was, and before we actually put brush to surface, let's just quickly go over the materials. So I am working on a piece of, it's called MDF. It's something you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. I cut an 8 by 8 inch piece from it and sealed it with gesso, front, sides, and back. If you don't want to work on this, you can purchase a panel from an art supply store or even a cradled panel, which means that there's a very thin layer of wood and then there's a cradle underneath that goes all the way around the edge of about 3/4 inch thick wood. So on the side profile it's wider than this. Or of course you can work on paper. If you're going to work on paper, I would go for 140 pound either mixed media paper or watercolor paper, or even maybe a piece of illustration board. Okay, so the surface. Now what we're going to use as an adhesive in the collage is matte gel medium, and what I like, this is the one I like best, Liquitex. We'll need brushes to spread the adhesive, water, paper towels. And then also we need our collage images. So first of all, we're going to need one for a background. Now, I was fortunate enough to have several pieces that I really like that are actually big enough in one piece to cover this ground. And the back's nice too. So these magazines, I noticed that the quality of magazines is kind of going down and down and down in terms of the quality of the paper. So for us collage artists, I think it's really important to find magazines and hold on to them whenever we can. I was trying to figure out what this one was from, but it's not marked on here. So this is going to be my background image. And also you can use several different pieces and collage them over the entire background. It doesn't have to be just one piece. And then we're going to use a central piece that the rabbit's going to be drawn over. And again, it can be, we want it to be light colored. It can be one piece. It's going to be about 4.5 by 4.5 inches, I think. Or you can collage different pieces together. So here I have a little piece of text as well. Now later on in the project, after we draw the rabbit, we're going to be doing a little bit more collage, probably putting some flowers and leaves on. So I've got other snippets from magazines that are going to be good flower colors to combine with the colors in the background. And as I look at these colors, I'm going to be really careful to include the light colors for sure, not have it down here so that those aren't showing. So we need snippets from magazines that we can cut flowers from. And then also, on here's an example, we could actually fussy cut an actual photo of a flower out from a clipping. And then we need some things we can cut leaves from. So this one has, of course, a whole variety of value over the entire page. You can see that I've used it in the past. Here's another one. Here's one that has a variety of nice greens in it as well. And then finally, I would like to, if you're working on a flat board like this, and you want to be able to display your piece in the end on an easel where the back's going to be visible, it's nice to finish the back by gluing on a nice piece of scrapbook paper. But that, of course, is optional. You might not be working on this type of panel. And by the way, you can work on a canvas panel. I just don't particularly like the texture of them. As far as our materials or supplies go, we'll need scissors. We'll need colored pencils and pens. And I will give you in the PDF a color chart. So I did this because I don't expect that you're going to have these exact colors in your colored pencils. Mine are mostly Faber-Castell Polychromos or Derwent drawing pencils. And I think a lot of people have Prismacolor. So that's why I included the swatches so that you can match your pencils to approximately to the colors that I have here. Can't remember whether I mentioned we need a water bucket, paper towels. We're going to be using white gesso. I use Liquitex. We are going to be using pencils. We'll need an HB and a 2B. I always like mechanical pencils because I don't have to sharpen them. Then we're also going to use a waterproof pen, 01 size, which is fairly fine, and either black or brown, or both if you have them. And then I'm probably also going to be using a fine tip Posca paint pen, black and white, and these are 0.7 millimeter in thickness. I have a scraper that I'm going to help flatten the collage with. And let's see, what else do I have here? A stylus for when I'm transferring the bunny drawing to the piece. And if you don't have a stylus, you can use a ballpoint pen. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention for the collage pieces, I'm going to have a little inner frame over the edges of the light centerpiece, so I have some strips for that. And I think that, oh, and I also have a kneaded eraser. Sometimes when you transfer the design to the piece, you're going to get pencil lines that maybe are too dark, so that will allow you to lighten them up. And as I'm looking around here on the table, I'm thinking that's it. Okay, so the first step is to put the background piece on. So I'm going to take my image, and of course, if you have multiple images that you're going to be using to cover the piece, then you'll be working a little bit differently than I am, but I think I'm going to place it pretty much like that, because I like these on the edge. I like to see some of the purple, and I'll see blue on the top. So I'm going to just crease. This one I probably don't have to show me where the edges are. And then in this particular piece, I really like this part in the center, and it's just going to be covered up. So I'm going to take my craft pen and cut a little piece from the center, and I'll put it back with my small collage pieces, and I'll be able to use it in another project. So for now, I'm just going to tear off the top. I'm not going to be using that. And this can also go in my collage stash, which I'll probably talk about later. Oh, and look, the knife actually made a mark, so that'll help me get that piece glued on exactly where I want. So I'm going to, first of all, get out my gel medium and my large brush. And you know, you can have a fair amount of water mixed in with this medium. You don't have to have it super thick. So I'm just quickly covering the back. I don't know if you heard that, but we have an impending cat issue here. You guys behave. So hopefully I won't have to suddenly stop the video and remove cats, but that could happen. So I'm also going to put adhesive on the back of the collage piece. And this creates a really good connection, really good bond between the paper and the support. The other thing that this does is it gives the magazine piece a chance to stretch. The paper stretches with water. If you don't put any medium on the back of the paper, then the paper goes on the support dry, but the support has a medium there. So when you put the dry paper on, it absorbs the moisture from the medium, and now it stretches and you get wrinkles. So it is important to put the glue back on both surfaces, especially the back of the paper, to give it a chance to expand so that when it dries, it won't leave wrinkles. Now I'm gonna take my my scraper thing, and you can see that, or maybe you can't, but it's starting to create a few wrinkles already. Wrinkles are not the end of the world, but I just prefer not to have them. And if you see that you've trapped an air bubble, you can just lift it up, put it back down, and you're good. Now I'm beginning to think about how I'm going to do the inner square that will end up being the background for the rabbit drawing itself. So I'm pretty much deciding that these two pieces of text and image or clipping are going to play a part. This is an example. Actually, let's look at the back of this. Yeah, it's always a good idea to look before you leap, or look on the other side of the page before you tear, because you might find that what you're tearing into is actually something nicer than what you're planning to use. Maybe put it aside for another project and find something else for this one. So this isn't tearing very well, but anyway, would go approximately like that, or I could go like that and do this one this way, or upside down. I think I like that. Okay. So we know that this edge, this is a full length of one of the sides. So, And by the way, if you would prefer, you can take a chalk pencil, a white chalk pencil, and draw the perimeter of your inner collage piece. That would make it easier than just kind of guessing, especially if you're piecing bits together. So with collage, it often takes a while to make your decisions, but eventually you've got it in your mind, and time to glue, which we've all done and seen probably many times. I could have done a much better job picking out these pieces for the border of the central square. I would probably be better off choosing colors and values that were between the lightness of the center square and the darkness of the background. So it takes a while to figure this out, because these strips that I have are neither light nor dark nor mid-tone. They're just in between. But eventually I get something I'm happy with. There are the basic pieces of the collage. Oh, and I see there's an air bubble under there. I don't know if you can see it. So if you just give your paper a little nudge, there, I removed a little piece of it. And I can work the paper, work the air towards that bubble or towards the tear and get rid of the bubble. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I just want to talk just a little bit about collage papers. Once you get into this, you find that you look at things around you with new eyes. And there are so many things that you'll see that you think, oh, that'd be great for a collage. Like, I'll look through catalogs for images. I'll look through magazines, obviously. I've even taken things off of food wrappers and stashed them away for future collages. So once you start doing that, you get a big collection of stuff. And I just wanted to show you how I've organized mine. So I have probably, I don't know, 8 or more of these containers that are meant to hold scrapbook paper. So I have one that's for any images that show a pattern that are neutral, for example. So something like this might go in that bin. I have another one for patterns and textures that are warm. Another one, patterns and textures cool. So cool, neutral, and warm. 3 boxes, each with pieces that are just basically patterns and textures. And by that I mean that you can take things out of the page that you might use for that. So like this was a whole page. It was an image of a cake. But I probably wasn't going to use the image of the cake, but I would use maybe pieces from there or the background. Then I also have a box where I have what I call background images, and those are big ones like what we started with, where I might use one or more to collage a background. I have one for images, whatever they might be, like maybe a basket of balls of wool, or faces, or animals, or anything where the actual image is something that I might want to feature in a collage, like a pretty doorway. And then what's the other one? Oh, florals. I think I have florals more than anything else. And then I have another container that's just full of tissue paper, pages of text from books, things that I would use that are neutral that I might use in a background. And then I also have a box of scrapbook papers. And then as I go through and I do my collage, I'll end up maybe with little pieces like this, and I have another box that just has little pieces in it where if I'm looking for just something very small, I can go through that and see what I can find. So that's just a way of, it makes it easier when you're looking for something to have it organized like that. Anyway, so here we are with our background. And this rabbit, we're gonna put the rabbit over it. And what I wanna do is lighten up the background with a little bit of gesso. Colored pencil is a transparent medium. And so, for example, you couldn't put, or you could not easily put light colored pencil over this dark background and not see the background through it. And even the text is pretty, there's so much contrast in it that likely you would be able to see part of that text through your drawing. So I'm just gonna take this gesso and I can go over the adhesive, even though it's not quite done, and just put some of this down. It's going to give me not only a good color, a good light color to work the pencil over, it's also going to give me a good texture to work the colored pencil on. Now, if you want to, you can wait until this background is dry and until you transfer your drawing of the rabbit, and then do it then when you know exactly where the rabbit is going to go. But I don't think I really have to worry that much about precision for this. Oops. So what I just did there is an example of overworking, especially when I'm working with two things together, the gesso, excuse me, and the matte medium. So I'll probably come back later when this is dry and put a little more gesso on. So our next step when we come back is to get the rabbit design on the piece and then do our drawing. So I will see you then.